All right, guys, we have some massive news coming out of the LCS today. Obviously, there have been tons of questions about Cloud9 and their mid lane situation after all of the JoJo drama, the whole situation that unraveled, obviously ending up with JoJo Pune leaving Cloud9, heading over to Europe, of all places, onto this team that will now be called Koi in the next year of the LEC. And obviously, it left Cloud9 with a big hole in the mid lane. Obviously, they had some decisions to make with Berserker leaving as well, and an import slot open, whether they wanted to try and import in the mid lane or in the AD carry position. But obviously after Sven goes to AD carry, it seemed pretty likely that they would at least consider using that import slot in that mid lane, that they would start considering some of those options. And that leads us to where we are today, where sources are telling Sheep Esports that Loki is set to join Cloud9 in the LCS, and apparently Saint was also considered. This report comes from Mr. LEC Wooloo himself, and of course, as always, is powered by Holy. So let's take a look at what the heck is going on here, and then we'll talk about some of the community's reactions and what maybe to think about this a little bit. So Cloud9 has found their mid laner, hailing from Hanwha Life Esports Challengers. Obviously, a lot of Western fans have probably never heard of Loki. I had never heard of Loki. So what is the deal with this guy? How did Cloud9 end up making this move? Coming from Hanwha Life Esports Challengers, their academy team, Loki will be making his Tier 1 debut in North America next year, according to Sheep Esports sources. After failing to qualify for Worlds, Cloud9 moved quickly to replace their star carries it lost. Once again, the perennial NA organization is making its title ambitions clear. C9 also considered Saint mid laner for D plus Kia Challengers for the position. Loki entered the Korean competitive circuit at the start of 2022 with HL Elite Academy, the Tier 3 roster for Hanwha Life Esports. After only one split in the Academy series, he moved up to the Challenger team as a substitute under Romer, HLE starting mid laner at the time. After warming the bench for most of 2022 and 2023, Loki was promoted to starting mid laner following Romer's move to Team Liquid Challengers for the 2024 season. Loki had a decent inaugural year in the LCK Challengers with 4th place and 6th place finishes in the spring and summer playoffs respectively. His most played champions in 2024 were Azir, Tristana, and Yone, with 11 unique champions that had at least 3 games played. Things don't always go according to plan. 2024 is supposed to be Cloud9's year. The return of Vulcan, along with the addition of JoJo Pune, shot the team up to the top 2 on every preseason power ranking. A shaky regular season and 3rd place exit from the spring playoffs led to the benching of Fudge and the departure of Mithy. To fill their shoes, the organization brought in Thanatos and returning head coach Reapered. With the midseason changes and a format change to best of 3s, Cloud9 showed signs of a return to form, securing the 2nd seed in a first-round bye coming in the summer playoffs, obviously. Unfortunately, their form didn't last long. They lost 1-3 to FlyQuest in the upper bracket, then had their season ended early by 100 Thieves in 4 games. For C9, 2024 was an unacceptable failure, and that's obviously what's led to all these crazy changes. Again, just thinking back to that Cloud9 team that we saw at the beginning of 2023, now to everything that happened to get us here was very crazy. It's been a huge domino effect of so much drama, so much craziness, and ultimately lack of wins, lack of results that got us here. You know, if Cloud9 would have made it to Worlds or been competitive or made it to the quarterfinals or something like that, maybe the whole JoJo Pune drama and all this stuff never happened. So who knows? I don't know. That's very speculative, but these are possibilities, of course. Big what-if scenarios all across the board. 2 weeks following the end of Cloud9 season, Sheep Esports reported Berserker was set to leave the team after 3 years with the org. Just 4 weeks later, it was reported that JoJo Pune will play for Koi, a historic move set to make him the first NA player that's going to be starting the LEC. The loss of 2 superstar carries left C9's roster feeling unstable heading into a year of change in North America. Their first addition was Sven, and then days later, Enero was chosen to be assistant coach. With only 1 spot left to fill, the team had settled on Loki to round out the roster. The majority of the team remaining intact. Only time will tell if C9 can return to their former glory. So again, this wording does seem to insinuate that Cloud9 will be holding on to their other members, Reaper and Nero, and then obviously Thanatos, Blabber, and then having now Loki in the mid lane with Sven and with Vulcan in that bot lane. So this is Loki. He is a 19-year-old player. He was born in March, so he will be turning 20. Fairly early on into our 2025 season in March. But yeah, this guy, like they said, started out with HLE Academy, ends up at HL Challengers. And some of his stats, again, looking at some of these champions. Yes, in spring he was a monster on Azir. 13 games, 10 wins, 3 losses. Really insane KDA. Really good on Triss. Really good on Karma. Had some nice stats. But then in summer things look maybe not as exciting or not as interesting or just kind of underwhelming in a big way, I guess. He was 8-0 on Talia, which is pretty crazy. But then after that, just kind of middling scores and middling stats on a lot of different champions. Yes, he played Yone a lot, but he was 3-4 on Yone with like not crazy numbers. Obviously, I don't know, without following the Korean Challenger Series too much, it's hard to know. Was his team letting him down? Did he have, maybe a bad jungler or a bad team? Or was it his fault? Individually, was it getting stomped in lane? I don't really know. But based on what we've heard from a lot of other people out there, it seems like Loki was a pretty middling prospect and maybe not like the sexiest choice or the most exciting choice. But with that being said, we do know that oftentimes these Korean challenger prospects and stuff, when they come over, they still end up being pretty good. Now, obviously, we've seen different levels of this. We've seen some guys come over and be kind of mid, kind of okay. We've seen Berserker come over and be an absolute beast. But again, Berserker was one of those like really blue chip prospects. So, from my feeling and what I hear so far, at least, is that Loki is not like on the level of Berserker or anything like that. This guy isn't like some insane prospect. I don't know if the market was too insane for him. But on the other hand, Saint, this guy from the D plus Kia, this is a guy who's apparently a very, very hot prospect that I think more fans would have been really, really excited about getting him. He's also 19 years old, about to turn 20. Again, it does say that Saint was considered for this position. I don't know. Does that mean, hey, Cloud9 considered Saint, but Saint didn't want to come? Does that mean they couldn't agree on a buyout? Does that mean they just chose to go a different direction? Who knows? But just the fact that Saint was even considered for this, that is leaving, I'm sure, a lot of fans wondering, hey, why the heck didn't we go after this guy? How did we not get him? How did we not go after him harder? Because this is, I think, leaving a bad taste in the fans of in the mouths of a lot of Cloud9 fans, but also LCS fans, because Cloud9, whether you think, Sven is going to be good or bounce back or whatever, whether Loki is going to be a beast this season, losing Jojo Pune and Berserker, that's two of the best players when they're at their best. That's two of the best players in the entire LCS. That's two literal MVP candidates. And now you're replacing them with Sven, who, some people might see as like this washed up veteran. I'm not even saying Sven's washed up. I think Sven's going to be fine. He's going to be solid, but Sven, I think, does kind of put a ceiling on your team in most people's minds. Like, I don't think anyone expects Sven to come be like this, monster international level AD carry at this point in his career. And then Loki, kind of this guy that I'm sure many people haven't heard of. Now, hey, Cloud9 is able to shut a lot of people up by coming out early on in the season and, stomping, winning a bunch of games, whatever. And obviously, we do always have the meme of Cloud9 losing the offseason or whatever. But just basing off what I'm seeing from the community, people are a little bit upset that Cloud9 is once again going and getting like an import mid laner. Also, just another mid laner in general. I know Cloud9's mid lane position has been an absolute carousel. I think somebody said like 9 unique mid laners or something like that since 2019, which is very crazy. They haven't been able to get any stability, any consistency. And again, after missing Worlds this last year, obviously fans have some higher expectations than that. But on the Cloud9 subreddit, people, top comment is, I am whelmed. That is literally the top comment from their fans. C9 also considered Saint. Crazy. Seemed like such a no-brainer. Clear second best mid in LCKCL. Org willing to sell. Player willing to leave. Friends with Thanatos. And yeah, Cloud9 fans do seem pretty frustrated, or at least pretty upset that they weren't able to get that. This was not on my bingo card. Can anyone who's familiar with this player give me a summary? Underwhelming pickup, IMO. One of the more middle-of-the-pack LCKCL mids. But like I said previously, and this is what I've also seen some other people say, that still these middle-of-the-pack LCK Challenger players have still kind of been able to come over to the West and be pretty good. It's not the worst thing in the world to be a middle-of-the-pack LCK CL mid laner, but it definitely is underwhelming. And then on the League of Legends subreddit, kind of the same stuff. C9 can use an academy ecosystem. Oh, wait, I forgot. And then C9's formula is just veterans plus LCK CL imports. Feels boring after TL and Fly beat them twice this year with NA talent, or beat them this year with NA talent, but who knows? They had limited options after they dropped JoJo, and this comes from Arsh. But yeah, also, yeah, Loki will be C9's 8th unique mid laner, 9th, who knows, but pretty crazy news either way. Again, this is seems like kind of the only big offseason news we've gotten so far. It's come from Cloud9 from the LCS side of things. I know we did get fudged to Shopify Rebellions, but other than that, the LCS has been very, very quiet so far. But Cloud9 going out there, causing some drama, causing some controversy, but getting a roster locked up and done. So now, again, that roster of Thanatos, Blabber, Loki, Sven, and Vulcan, is it one to be excited about? Is it one to be reckoned with? Is it one that's going to make a splash in 2025? I don't know. At least on paper, it sounds, maybe not the best. Maybe like Cloud9 lost the offseason once again. We'll have to wait and see what happens very soon. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace. Everything we are doing here at Sheep Esports for the rest of 2024 is powered by Holy. This is an awesome company that makes great tasting energy drinks that also just so happen to be healthier than the competition as well. They sent me this starter set deluxe, which comes with a Holy shaker and then 14 individual servings of Holy Energy, Holy Hydration, and Holy Iced Tea. So you get a ton of awesome stuff for a great price. And if you want to get even better price, check out the first link in the description below. Use discount code SE5 to get €5 off your first order, or SE10 to get 10% off your entire basket. If you guys want to help continue to allow us to provide the amazing coverage of both Worlds and the offseason that you guys know and love, definitely check out Holy, buy some stuff. It would mean the world to us. Thanks.